And how many of you, by applause, had never seen it?
Les is wearing white. I wanted to wear white too.
A lot of people do not realize the swinger, David, Evel Knievel's illegitimate child. That's exactly right. Where the fuck did you get that?
You know where Kathleen gets her outfits made? By those small Chinese children.
Oh, man.
I clearly did not get it from there.
No. Oh, that's yours now. I'm not going to drink after you. Would you introduce yourself to the audience as your real name, not the Midnight Swinger?
Yeah, my name is David Scott. How you guys doing?
And I am about, and a lot of people didn't realize my full name. As a matter of fact, Caroline Ray, who was here last week, I called her, and I don't know why, because technology now will just dig up shit and send it to people. I mean, really, I had somebody answer their phone the other day, and they said, a picture of you came up on my phone. I have no picture of you in my phone. Well, this one came to Caroline, came up as my proper name, Charles Leslie McCurdy. Sir Charles. Sir Charles, that is right. So do you have one of those weird first or middle names?
Yeah, I actually, my dad convinced me to legally change my name from my birth name because he felt that, my dad was an entertainer. I was raised in an entertainment family. My dad was a Broadway performer.
Right.
I've been performing since I was 5 on up and down the East Coast. I was born in Queens, New York.
He's avoiding the real name. He's just avoiding it like
no,
the play.
but my real name is David Scott Rosenberg. So for the 18 Jews out there, Baruch atah Adonai
18?
Kalam.
You're in Sarasota, brother. It's half the crowd.
Yeah, but half the crowd won't acknowledge it, so I find that weird. So my dad was a performer, and he incurred a lot of bigotry and racism as having the last name Rosenberg, touring up and down the East Coast, even coming down as so far as to Alabama, Georgia, Missouri, Indiana, as he was in touring theater. And when I wanted to get in this, he said, "Listen, just drop the Rosenberg. You won't get pigeonholed as being a certain kind of act." So he said, "Just call yourself David Scott." So that's how it kind of worked out.
And now just get into the family. You know, so many times when I'm interviewing a comedian, it's that they didn't come from any kind of entertainment background. But of course, David, you come from a strong entertainment background. Your parent, now your mom and dad, right?
My mom's a singer, but my dad was a professional. He was a touring professional Broadway performer. Then he had a group called the High Notes. He was in a doo-wop group.
They know the High Notes? That only would get applauded in Sarasota, Florida.
Only Sarasota. I remember that. him and his two partners would sing selections from, this is great, from Fiddler on the Roof and Joe's Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and my mom was just a good singer. But my dad was actually a trained cantor. I know for the Jews in the room know what I'm talking about.
The rest of us think that he pours wine into glass bottles.
See, that's a non-Jew response.
Yes. I think he's a wine pourer.
Yeah, that's a decanter.
Oh, a decanter. Very different, the cantor and the decanter.
So he went to school to become a cantor, and when his parents divorced, he moved to New York when he was 18 years old. And because he had this fantastic singing voice, got into theater, got into musical theater, and like I said, I was born in 1970. Do the math, and I was performing. First time I performed there was 5 years old singing Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match, find me a find. There you go. So.
And so, was there? Was he in plays actually on Broadway or mostly touring things?
On Broadway, off Broadway, but he was in a lot of touring companies.
Did you ever get to meet anybody famous that he was working with?
Yeah, sadly, no, because I was too young to know what a famous person was.
Oh.
So.
Did he ever brag about?
I've met Gregory Hines. Trying to think of some other, maybe some. Burt Bacharach I've met, but I was 8. I met Bill Cosby, so I was fortunate enough to be around the industry. But to me, they were just people that my dad worked with. So I don't know what fame was back then.
So you grew up. Now, did formal training? Did you go to college?
Yes, I actually have 3 bachelor degrees.
Really?
Yeah, I actually went to school. My dad said, if this comedy thing doesn't work out, you may want to have something to fall back on. Yeah, that's a good Jewish dad. I've got degrees in theater, business, and advertising from the University of Missouri.
Oh, and
really, Missouri?
And when
they heard about the high notes.
Go Mizzou!
Mizzou in the house.
Now, when you got out of college, did you go right into entertaining?
3 days after I graduated college, I was in my 1983 Honda Civic with 300,000 miles, drove to L.A., was on stage 2 days later, won a comedy contest on my very first try, and became the house MC at a club called the Laugh Stop.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah, I know you're familiar with that. Mm-hmm. And first time on stage, won a contest, got a 6 months paid MC spot, and then I just started touring right after that.
I wish you wouldn't say that because every open micer thinks that's what happens.
I know.
That never happens.
No, I was very, very fortunate. I was lucky. I was blessed to be at the right place at the right time.
But you also had a lot of training behind you.
Yeah, I wasn't like a newbie. I've been, like I said, doing it since I was 5. So I love being on stage. I love doing what I do, like what I did tonight. I hope you all had a great time, but I had...
It's an outrageous show.
Yeah, but I have just as much fun when I look out in the crowd, seeing everybody laughing at this crazy character that I kind of invented. And but I love being on stage. My dad trained me to go in front of any audience, in front of any group, and just absorb it and just ride the wave.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I've got one sister.
One sister?
Yeah.
And older, younger?
Older by a year.
A year? Yeah, and what does she do?
Mother of 4. Living in
That's
Kansas
enough.
City. That's enough, yeah. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, how did the swinger come about? I mean, I'm assuming you started out. You were a host. You were just doing the run-of-the-mill stand-up type of show. Yeah. And how did this manifest itself?
Well, I wanted to stand out from everybody else. I wanted to just I didn't want to be just lumped in with every other comedian working, jeans, T-shirt, baseball hat. And I've always been, and my grandfather, who lived in Daytona Beach, Florida, and I visited every year from
was he a biker?
No. Oh. He was a New York City beat cop.
Oh, and then he was in the NASCAR.
Yeah, and
it's one or the other.
Yeah, and he moved down to Daytona, and I'd visit him. My family would come down, and he always play Rat Pack music. Dean Martin, Sam Davis Jr., Frank Sinatra, and I loved the Rat Pack. And he had these great old black and white films, the old, reel-to-reel films, not VHS, of the Rat Pack live on stage at the Sands. Oh. And I just loved the way they performed. I loved the way they seemed to be having more fun than the audience. So I tried to incorporate that into what I was doing. So I came up with this Vegas-style show. But then my buddy Kirk Nolan, who's my mentor when it comes to comedy, says, you need a name. You got to call yourself. You can't call yourself David Scott, Las Vegas entertainer. So he's big into swing music and heard a song by Mel Torme called The Midnight Swinger. And the song is, hey, midnight swinger, how's the world's greatest lover tonight? Emancipated woman's own special delight. And my buddy goes, that's you. That's you. You're the midnight swinger.
That's me.
And it was written by a gentleman,
It's me too.
And it was written.
I'm the midnight swinger. I had no idea.
And it was written by a gentleman by the name of Hank Jones Jr.
Oh.
And I was in Vegas performing, and Hank Jones is walking down with his wife and sees at the Riviera Live the Midnight Swinger. He's like, I wrote that song. So he comes to the show, comes backstage, introduced him. He wrote me a great letter that says, Mel is smiling down from heaven for
that's
you.
cool.
So, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
Was the hair immediate?
No. Oh, my God, no. I used to have I'm a natural redhead. Thank you. Natural redhead, and I had the classic Frank Sinatra really close crop thing. And my buddy says, no, if you're gonna stand out, you gotta have a Dino pompadour. So I grew my hair out. I actually dyed it black. I know it's hard to imagine me with black hair, but then I dyed the eyebrows black, and that was the mistake. Because it says don't have it by your eyes, and I had like black streaks during my show. I had black streaks. And then I said, okay, this isn't working. So my buddy, who knows I'm also a big Billy Idol fan, says, just have the Dean Martin pompadour with the Billy Idol white hair. So melded that together, and in 1999, this was born. So.
1999. Now, when you started this, when we go out there, when we get started, we are a small business unto ourselves. Did you actually have a business plan?
Yes.
Yes. You have a 401k?
Yes.
An investment portfolio?
Yes.
Unbelievable.
I also have health insurance.
That's great.
Again, that's the Jewish side of me. And by the way, ladies, I'm Jewish from the waist up. And
yeah, I know.
No.
Yeah, okay. African American from the waist down.
No.
Sure, we all are.
No, sadly drunken.
Killer.
Sadly drunken Irish.
Sure.
No, my dad was once again very instrumental in saying, plan out your future. And the idea was to brand myself as the Midnight Swinger. So when people see me, they yell, hey, swinger, hey, midnight, and you brand yourself. But you also have to have this, for lack of a better term, safety net. So when I go on the road, I don't feel like I'm anxious. There are a lot of comics, and you know this, who feel like if I don't make money this week, how am I going to pay my rent? So
I felt like that last week.
I know you did. You're making a ton of money this week, so you're fine. And
thank God. That's the reason you're here. Save my ass.
So
me and David Jones.
Is Mr. Sunscreen here?
He didn't? All right, he has to get up early. We'll be on David's radio show on WSRZ in the morning, which anybody listening to this can get on the web.
Yeah, we got some cruisers back there from the cruise lines have been there, yeah?
Absolutely. You did the cruise with them twice. So you have a plan.
Yeah.
So what is the goal 5 years from now?
That's interesting because it changed. I wanted, as everybody's very aware of, the economy has kind of gotten and for some, and others, they doing well, I guess. But Vegas has kind of become very difficult to live in.
Right.
So my plan was in 5 years to have my own theater, my own show, where I was done traveling. Now my manager has said that a theater in Branson, the Mel Tillis Theater, has contacted me about being full-time in Branson.
Oh.
And
you got to quit drinking.
No kidding. And I got to learn how to go to bed at 6 o'clock at night.
Right.
I'll be the 3 p.m. swinger.
That's right.
And it's the early bird swinger special.
We got to start doing that here. Early bird swinger special.
Yeah. This Sunday matinee, we have a lot of people just like going, bring out more meatloaf.
Any questions from the audience? Any questions at all? Anybody? We always a little shy about this at first. No?
Yes?
So, I knew my square dance partner. Do you remember yours?
Yeah, her name was Cindy Clamp. I'm sorry?
Did you get all 4 years?
No, every time the song ended, I had a different partner.
No, I asked you something. They always start you with the worst.
Oh, do they? No. I only remember her because it was like 5th grade, and and you had to hold the girl's hand for the first time, and that's just disturbing. I mean, I like it now. But yeah.
Yes.
Steve Martin. I'm a huge Steve Martin. Steve Martin is the reason I'm in comedy. 1983, I saw the Steve Martin live at the Universal Amphitheater. I always thought I'd be a song and dance man. I thought I'd end up, you know, I know how to tap dance. I know how to do all sorts of dancing. I sing okay. I thought I'd be a song and dance man, but Steve Martin is the one that convinced me that you could be on stage and be outrageous, crazy, and perform in front of 50,000 people. I've never met him. He's my idol. I would love to meet him. He's the reason I do comedy.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Whichever.
Yeah, well, we're going to share.
Okay, you're going to share? Whatever you want to do.
She's the one who threw her shoes at me.
Fellas, something tells me this is going to be a good night. There's the first thing.
Hi, what?
Yeah. Did you have a question?
Of all the people that you've worked with, you know, who do you really respect the most? Who do you like the most?
He said his was Steve Martin.
She was looking at you.
Who do I respect the most?
You've been doing this long
I respect, really, the top 10 acts that have made the most money in this room. I have great respect for. I have outrageous respect for each of them. Half of them are assholes, but I still have complete, utter respect. No, they're not. They're not. I have respect for anybody that steps up on this stage and gives this a shot, including all the open micers that went up tonight.
Yeah.
Anybody who will walk up here and try this, and as David has already said, it is the biggest thrill in the world. And performing is a wonderful thrill, but being able to get laughter and making laughter happen, not on the fly, not by accident, but in a premeditated way, over and over and over, and see what that does to an audience and an entire community and atmosphere. There's nothing like it, and I wish more of you would try it. My comedy school starts in 2 months. Okay.
Shill it.
I'll ask the last question, and then we'll do our drawing, our 50-50 drawing for the charity. I ask this of everybody. What's the great bit you haven't written yet? Is there one? Is there something rolling around in your head maybe about your personal life or some issue that you're really excited about or disturbed about that you would love to enlighten or expose or inspire people with?
It's a double-edged question, I'll be honest with you, Les. It's a serious question, but it's a double-edged one because the show that I've tried to develop, that I've tried to perform all across the country is fun. I don't talk about politics, I don't talk about current events. I honestly believe in my heart that when you come to a place like McCurdy's Comedy Theater, the best thing I can do is make you forget about the troubles that are going on right now. That's the way I approach comedy. It's the way I approach entertainment. It's not my job to talk about what Romney or Obama or the Congress or the debt or what Tea Party or whatever. It's not my job. I'm not used as a soapbox. But every now and then something gets under my craw, like the Chick-fil-A thing, and I'll throw out just a little zinger about Chick-fil-A because I never get a chance to do it. And when I get the crowd, and you guys were having so much fun, I just threw that Chick-fil-A joke out there just to see if I could do it. And half of you laugh, the other half goes, no, go back to the marshmallows. And but for me, the joke that I have not written and what I'm trying to do, and I try to do it every day, people have seen my show before. I know there are people in the back who've seen me before. My good friend Brian and Lauren are here. My good friend Meredith is here. And they've seen the show, and they probably noticed a little bit different attitude tonight as I'm trying to reinvent my show. I'm trying to make my goal, and I know it's a long-winded answer to your simple question, is to make my show not about comedy. I want to make my show this all-encompassing event. This where you come in, is like, you get stand-up? Yeah, you get stand-up. Do you get music? Yeah, you get music. Do you get impressions? Yeah, you get impressions. Do you get dancing? Yeah, you get, extravaganza. Yeah, you get dancing, you get impressions, you get all of this. That's what I'm trying to do, and I basically have to teach club owners that you can be booked into a comedy club and not be a stand-up comic. And you have been fantastic, so thank you.
I think you are the new age Mickey Rooney. I think you are. Thanks, David. Listen to us on 107.9 tomorrow at WSRZ at 8 o'clock.